Good day, good people. Welcome to another purpose-filled episode of Lessons for the Journey. The purpose of this podcast is to share insights and information on women's wellness, understanding our whys, and the lessons that inspire us to take positive action in ourselves, our families, and our communities. Our topics are women's wellness, seeing through a metaphysical lens, sharing spiritual insights, highlighting the journey, and building healthy relationships. So I'm going to ask you to take a pause, go get your journal, get your pad and paper, get a pen because you're going to need to take some notes as always. Today is especially one of those days that you're going to want to take some notes. I am your host, Dr. Hetheru. I am excited about this journey today because I am in this space with two amazing co-hosts. I am here with Ma'at Sabah and Mary Bayou, who are co-hosts for this episode and co-hosts for the show. And so this is a 1 hour transformative conversation and information sharing here on Podcastic Live. And you can also catch us later on Podcastic and also on my YouTube channel. You can find me at Dr. Hetheru, Personal Change Coach. And what you can expect from our podcast is deep, thought-provoking conversations of self-discovery and personal growth, special guests, locations, events, people, polls, and thoughts. Co-host sharing wisdom, as you will see today, and life-changing insights, and a powerful blend of spiritual, metaphysical, and wellness lessons. Also, tools and strategies to help you elevate your mind, your body, and your spirit. This show is produced by Chantel Mosley of Podcastic Studios. Thank you, Chantel. And our co-hosts that are not present today are Jada Rains, Nicole S. Miller, and sometimes special guest by Dr. Calvin T. Mann. Our message to you is if you're looking for clarity, healing, and personal empowerment, then this podcast is for you. So right now we need you to tune in, engage, and allow your mind to be transformed by the information that we're going to share with you today. So we're going to jump right into our topic, which I think is way cool. Our topic is called Deep Black, the metaphysics of melanin and the culture of black. We always start with a reflection question. So we're going to start with this reflection question. I'm going to put Mary on the spot first. Look at her. Okay, so the first question that we're posing in our session today is, what are your top 3 superpowers?
Top 3 superpowers. I am empathic. I am a supernatural being endowed from birth. And prior even to my birth, there was a supernatural reason for me being here, and I'm living that out today.
Awesome.
As every day. And I have the supernatural power to impact the lives of others in a way that they didn't even know they could be touched.
All right. Sister Ma'at, what would you say were your top 3 superpowers?
I would say empathic as well. The ability to communicate with people effectively and allow them to learn how to communicate with others. And the last one, that's interesting. Probably maybe patience. Patience as it relates to interactions with people. I have more patience and empathy with people when they are sharing their challenges or whatever. A lot of times people get, when people start to talk about their stuff or their life or whatever, people start to get impatient with it. But I'll listen. They need to get it out. So I say patience.
That's awesome.
Powerful.
Yeah. So my top 3 superpowers. One is that I have ability to speak with trees in particular. I speak with nature, and it's such a strange communication system. But that's one of my gifts, that I can actually talk and communicate with the trees. Another is that I have, I guess it's called clairaudient, where you can hear. Mm-hmm. And so I can hear some things sometimes that people aren't saying, but I can also hear the voices of the spirits speaking to specific people about specific things. And another one of my superpowers is I can interpret dreams.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Right. So this is another question kind of related, but what do you think has been passed down in your generations? What gift of those superpowers, or just a gift that you believe has been passed down through your family through generations?
Well, it's funny. I've been reflecting on this for a while. My grandmother, my mother's mother, she was very spiritual, empathic. She was she could read tea leaves. She was, and also in many ways a medium. And I have taken on some of those traits.
Can you read the tea leaves too?
You know, because we've gotten away from using the loose tea as, used to be done. I have purchased myself a teapot with an infuser and just using different herbs and things. I'm actually kind of bringing that back. Nice. I can't say that I'm all the way there, but I do hear spirits and they instruct. I can be instructed about situations through natural means, and so because nature does speak to me, tea leaves are nature. So right. I'm expecting that'll be something that comes on, in a real significant way for me in this journey.
Nice. Yeah. How about you? What's been passed down in your generations?
Intuition. We're all empathic and able to see spirits. And believe it or not, I don't know if this would be considered a superpower, but I kind of do. Cooking. Mm-hmm. Because, when food, especially if it's good food, good tasting food balances people out. It gets them where they will, they'll be more receptive. They're more open. And healing can take place from food. So I would say that, because generational, we all are pretty good cooks. And the third one would probably be community. We've always brought community in with everything we do. So when we had our businesses, that was always the spot. When my kids were coming up, my house was the old lady in the shoe house where all of the kids congregated. So, like my home. Like I said, I don't know if you would consider that a superpower, but when it comes to bringing people together.
Draw energy? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cooking is alchemy.
Exactly.
That is so true. That's great insight. That's a great insight. I was just going to mention your carrot salad. I don't know. She can stand there and give you the instructions. It is not going to taste like it does when you make it.
I'll make some for you.
Yes, please. When I first had it, it was amazing. But it makes you feel good. Yeah. It makes you feel good to eat it. Yeah. That I love that. Okay. Let me see. What I think has been passed down, and I need to think if this is on my mom's side or my dad's side. So the two things that come to my mind is a desire to help. Like that, the word help itself is a trigger for my family. If you say help to my mother, it doesn't matter what it is, she's going to figure out a way to help, and she's going to get and elicit the rest of us to help as well. So I think that's a one, because I see it in my mother, I see it in my grandmother. On my mom's side, I think on my dad's side, I think one of the areas of their gift is that they were always able to, I was about to say laughter and smiling. And I want to say because they have a tendency to disarm people when they laugh or they smile. And I remember that about my grandfather and even my great grandfather. I don't remember him laughing as much. I do remember him smiling. He was pretty much a disciplinarian. And so, but he had, of course, you have a softer side with your grandkids and your great grandkids. But I think that's what it is for my dad's side. It's probably their smile, and my mom's side is probably the nature it helps. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So our topic today, we're going to start with Mary. She's going to give us some insight too around how we look at this through a medical lens, how we look at it through the metaphysical lens, and then her own experience. So Deep Black, the metaphysics of melanin and the culture of Black. So what insights do you have for us today?
Well, melanin is such a provocative topic. It's so broad and wide. You can come at it from so many different ways.
Right.
And I'd like to first take us to the origin, being the pineal gland.
Okay.
A small pine cone shaped structure within the brain, deep within the brain. And that's where melanin is produced. Now, melanin is also, this is important, to a lesser degree, produced within other microbes in the body, including certain bacteria. You've heard of good bacteria and eukaryotes, which are multi-cell organisms. And so within our body, if we think of our body, your body as a universe, each structure has a galaxy. Let's say your thyroid. Take your thyroid. It's a galaxy. And each cell within that galaxy is a sun. And all the small organelles within it are the other structures within a galaxy. Okay? And so when you... so it's a very important structure within our body. So... I'm sorry. Let me get back to this. So melanin is produced in this pineal gland and in these other structures within the body. And so what melanin does, it is the product of light being produced. It's a product of light coming into the pineal gland. The pineal gland then producing melanin to regulate our rhythms in our body, circadian rhythms, and just our overall 24-hour clock within our bodies, which regulates so many metabolic functions. So that's I would say, the science of it, in a nutshell, just kind of condensed down. Melatonin has several other functions. It is an immune boosting substance. It is an antioxidant. It goes in and converts free radicals which can cause damage to our tissues within our body, which is a good reason why, an important reason to remember that not only in the pineal gland is it produced, but in these other structures or microbes within the body, because they're dispersed throughout the body. So you're getting melanin production not only in your brain, but you're getting it throughout your body.
Okay, that's good insight. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the peak melanin release is about 2 a.m. in the morning, when we should be deeply asleep. The darker it is, the more melanin you're producing and the better quality of sleep that you're having.
You mean, and when you say dark, you mean the space that you're in, like no lights?
That's right.
Wow.
And that's why we should take care. I wrote down a few things to keep, some things that will keep us producing the best quality and the most melanin in our darkness, because we look at melanin is produced in the dark for the use in the dark. Serotonin, which is a sister component substance, which is also excreted. Melatonin is sleep, serotonin is mood, lifting the mood. Think about the sun, happiness. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's serotonin. Melatonin is dark, sleep, rest. So one of the ways that we can make the best melatonin is this. When you are up and when you think about reducing stress, you want to do meditation, yoga, breath work. Those are things that help to calm us and to help our body be in a production mode, in the best production mode possible. You want to do some sun gazing. I have on transition glasses. I really don't like wearing them outside because I want that sun to hit my eyes. You want the sun to hit your eyes because you're going to make better melanin. Avoid blue light. Cut your phones off at night. Put them away. No TV. And a lot of patients tell me, well, I'm always like this. I can't sleep. And I always ask what their, what their hygiene is. And so I'll always ask, do you watch TV at night? Do you go to bed? Yeah, I can't go to sleep without it. I said, that's probably where you're shooting yourself in the foot. I said, the blue light activates your brain. And so if you're activated, you're not going to get to sleep, and then it's a vicious cycle. If you're not getting the sleep, you're not making the melatonin. If you don't have the melatonin, you're not sleeping, Yep. Mm-hmm. So eliminate fluoride as much as possible. Control calcium intake. You don't want to calcify that pineal gland. Fluoride and calcium will do that. Naturally occurring calcium in foods that have calcium, that's fine because it comes with the buffers that nature provides. But exogenous calcium, like calcium tablets and things, they're more of a problem than a solution. Healthy diets. Avoid seed oils. What I mean by seed oils, vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, peanut oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil. Those are extremely vegetable oil of all sorts, soy oil, because they're all ultra processed, and they are processed through through the methods and using some of the chemicals that they use in petroleum processing. In particular, there's a chemical called hexane, which is toxic, and they use that in the processing of these oils, and there's no way to filter it all out. So it's still in the oil when you buy it in the store. There's no such thing as a healthy vegetable oil. Ultra-processed foods, leave them alone. Exercise as much as you can, everybody knows that, even if it's just walking. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, and a very simplistic
right, to a very complicated subject, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can go in so many directions with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, thank you for the insights. So, can you share a little bit of how you see melanin or melatonin affecting you? What's your experience with it?
Absolutely. Okay, so this is a little bit woo-woo. I think this broadcast will allow me that space. So I had an experience where I had the awesome opportunity to have a higher self reading, and my higher self instructed me. I was having some health issues, and one of the instructions was, if she takes care of her sleep, this is going to help a lot. And the person who was regressing me, she asked, what do you mean? How can she take care of her sleep? And the answer was, no late nights, to bed by 8 o'clock. And this was so amazing to me. My higher self said, she's up by 4 a.m. And I'm like, there's no way anybody knew that. Mm-hmm. She's up by 4 a.m., so she has to sleep. And when I don't follow that advice, and I know what it means, I have to sleep long enough for my melatonin to aid in the rest and repair that my body needs, or things go haywire for me. Mm. And I have the since receiving that message and adjusting my sleep schedule, my health is improving. I mean, things that were a problem for me, I remember sitting just the other day, wow, that's gone. That pain, that ache, that concern, it's gone, you know? Mm-hmm. Sleep, you know, it really is a torture technique, you know, refusing or not allowing people to sleep. Mm-hmm. That is a tool of war, you know?
Man. Don't tell Calvin that.
Yeah, you know, if you cannot sleep, you cannot repair.
That makes so much sense.
You know,
that makes so much sense.
They burn the midnight oil. Oh, I'm not a sleeper. You know what? It's going to take. Sleep is going to take what's due to it. Mm-hmm. It will eventually. And so it's better to establish good sleep hygiene and practice because it will serve you.
Thank you. My aunt.
Yes, ma'am.
Share your insights. Share your insights, experience, your thoughts on our melanin and the culture of Black.
Melanin is a topic that if it was taught to us about what melanin is, what melanin does, how we are, we're just a two-legged, we're two-legged melanin. Mm. If you understood all of the components of it from mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, we would look at ourselves a little differently. Nothing that I know of, I believe that was carbon-based, because melanin is carbon-based. So if you go take it back even further to melanin, is carbon. And everything that exists, if I'm not mistaken, has carbon in it. Mm. So if we look at it from those different perspectives, we will realize that we're really more powerful than we even know. And we will start to act in accordance with that, understanding all aspects of it. Even if you just take one, work on one aspect. From a spiritual perspective, when you talk about melanin or Black, and you look at the different, I might be ahead of it, but you look at the different spiritual significances of the color, which would always be associated with power, authority. Judges wear black. People in like nuns wear black. So if you look at the military, black. Funerals, black, even though that was not the original color. When you're associated with death, it was always to wear white. That was switched around to us wearing black, but it was never originally black. If you look at the different crystals, the black crystals and what they do, dark foods, even though it's not black, but dark foods are your higher antioxidants. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Mm. That was one of the sayings to denote that. So black itself and melanin itself, I would encourage everyone to do research on those two. And you can just really see how if you educate yourself more and start to align yourself more with black, then your life is going to shift in a way that I think you can't even comprehend. Mm. So it is probably the most powerful color. Because if you think about this, when you were in your mother, what color was it?
It was dark.
All black.
It was dark. The void.
When you close your eyes, it's
Right.
black. You know, so it denotes inward to me, spirituality to me. When my granddaughter was little, she was like 5 or something like that, and we were talking about meditation, and so we taught her, you know, how to meditate. You know, kids will sit there and do the little hand poses. We don't know what they're doing, but there was something significant that she said. I'm like, well, how did you know that? She said, because I went to the dark place in my mind. We never had that conversation with her. So how would she know that? You know, so as I said, you know, just learning more about melanin. I think one of the foremost scholars of melanin is, I believe the name is Richard King. That's where I would start doing research with his information. I've got the book. I didn't think about bringing it, but I'll share that with you.
So we've talked about stones. You mentioned something about black stones, or are they crystals, or are they?
Some like
Black tourmaline.
Yeah, tourmaline, and the tourmaline is one of the ones that you want to use when you're around a lot of negative energy. It repels negativity. Hematite absorbs negative energy, so that's why you get a hematite ring. And when it has absorbed enough energy, it'll just explode off of your hand. So a lot of people like those, but they don't understand why the ring just cracks from out of nowhere, because it absorbs. Obsidian is black. Shungite is black. Now, shungite, that's something that they found. They believe it came from space somewhere. And it hit this community in Russia, and I can't pronounce the name. And it's a extremely huge amount of it. Like, they've been digging it up, and they're still digging it up. And shungite is not considered to be a mineral, but it repels radiation. You can put it on your routers, like I have it on my router at home. If you have the electric meters on your house, we'll put like a little pouch of it on the meters. Sometime they would tape it to the back of their cell phone, or I had a little bit that I would put on the back of the TV. So they would repel radiation. And then now they're making shungite. They're polishing it and putting it in, necklaces and things like that.
An amulet. I think I've seen that before.
No.
Yeah.
Is this something that you carry in your collection?
I do.
Oh, right.
You know I do.
Well, just thought I'd put that out there that people have a way to find it.
Yeah.
You don't always have to go to Amazon, because we can support the businesses that are in our circle.
Yeah, I sell all kinds of crystals.
Right.
Shungite is one of them.
Okay, I need to get some of that shungite. I like the way that sounds.
I might have some in my. I thought I brought some. If it's not in my purse, I'll get you some.
Thank you. That's what you have sisters for. All right. So when I went to Wikipedia to find out what Wikipedia had to say, the tone of what Wikipedia had to say was a little bit troubling, because it talked about two of our scholars. It talked really a lot about Leonard Jeffries and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and their views on melanin, and how it's seen and how it's used, and how it is also an empowerment tool for people of African descent. And so they called it the melanin theory. It says the melanin theory is a set of, they called it pseudoscientific claims made by some proponents of Afrocentrism, which holds that black people, including ancient Egyptians, have superior mental, physical, and paranormal powers because they have higher levels of melanin, the primary pigment in human skin. I thought that was kind of interesting, and they went on and talked about how these particular scholars feel about the empowerment, and they kept calling it pseudoscientific. I think that the character, the quality, and the education and wisdom of those two scholars in particular, I think we can take pseudo off of that title. Absolutely. And say it is what it is, right? So if you go to look and you find Wikipedia and you see that, I would also encourage you, including, you said Richard King?
Richard King. Mm-hmm.
Richard King. Look up Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Look them up in their totality, not just compartmental, and you will see why they are such advocates and proponents of not just the melanin, but who we are as a people. And so I think that makes a huge difference. So here's some of the additional things that I found in the research. It said the intrinsic property of melanin transforms light into chemical energy by means of a water molecule dissociation. It said melanin may aid in immune system support and the reduction of inflammation in your body, some of the things that Mary shared with us. Melanin can conduct electricity, sometimes with virtually no resistance. And it said that it's often seen as the color brown and non-refractal, which, of course, what she was talking about the light, connecting to light. It says it's not capable of bending light. So, but when we look at it from, we always look at the spiritual metaphysical lens. So in the spiritual context, and we're looking at not just melanin, we're talking about what it represents. We're talking about how it's used. We're talking about how we look at the color black, the word black, and the implications of black as a culture. And so I thought it was a great connection, especially when I kept seeing it talks about melanin, and when you talk about it being brown to shades of black. And I think that's a really powerful observation, because as a people, we are from shades of brown to shades of almost black. Mm-hmm. Black is in jet black. And so
everything comes from black.
Everything. So it's I think it's a super great conversation to have, and for you to do more research as you have been encouraged to do. But in the spiritual context, we talk about black can represent power, protection, the unknown, a connection to earth and spiritual realms. Also, we have used it in terms of mourning, darkness, and the unconscious. So what I think we have a tendency to do is put judgment and labels on the information. So instead of calling it good, bad, right, and wrong, if you receive it in the way that it is, that it resonates with you, first of all, so that you know that part of that information is specific to you. And I love when, Mary, you were talking about how when you had your reading, that your higher self was telling you what you needed. And then you honored that, because our body is talking to us all the time.
All the time.
And it's giving us such information that we have been trained that don't trust yourself or don't trust your body. You need to go and have somebody else tell you about your body. And that is not the nature of what's black. That's not the nature of our culture. It is how we have been cultured to think, but it's not our nature. When we start, and it's really interesting, because some of the ways that we have passed remedies down from generations. Big Mama used to do this. They used to tell you to take the castor oil. They used to all these things. Mm-hmm. You can actually look at the science of it and how it makes sense, and you could also look at the spiritual significance of those things and how it makes sense. We have gotten away from that, but for a season, let me put it that way. For a season, we have gotten away from it. But now the call of nature, the call of the ancestors, the call of your gifts, your superpowers is upon us. And if we're not listening, really listening, if we're not trusting, if we're not responding to that call, then we need to continue to do some more work. And I'm not talking about things that bring harm to you, because sometimes, we can be in a space or a mental space when we're not picking up the right information and processing that information in a way that is healthy for us. So, and the other part that I think that we sometimes can stray is that we think we need to have a variety of substances to activate something in us. And I have a lot of talk about that with the mushrooms and marijuana and hallucinogenics and things like that. I've never had to have those things to help me to have those experiences. Mm-hmm. It was much like you both talked about with not just the meditation, be able to close your eyes, be able to center your thoughts in your mind, be be a part of the conversation of what you want to know. So if everything else is cleared from your mind, you can really have a conversation with not just your higher self, but everything that's connected, because we're all interconnected. Mm-hmm. Not only are we interconnected, we are interconnected with nature. And so you can hear the voice of nature. That means you need to spend more time. If you're building a relationship with someone, that part of that relationship building is spending more time. You need to spend more time in nature. If you need in need of healing, you need to spend more time with herbs, even if it's just teas. They'll speak to you. Your body will also speak to you when you need salt. People who put a lot of salt on things, you might want to listen to what you're being told. Either it could be that you're using too much salt, not using enough, but that means that what the salt represents may be what you need in your body, not necessarily the salt in and of itself. So if we're listening to our bodies and we're looking at the trends, it was a conversation I was listening to the Rise and Grind show this morning, and the conversation around relationship. Does therapy help relationships? I thought that was a really phenomenal topic, by the way. But my thought was that there are things happening within people, and we look at it as something sometimes that needs to be fixed as opposed to a focus. Pain is a motivator. Mm-hmm. Pain is telling you need to look deeper in this. So when the arguments come up, when the disagreements come up, it's telling us to look deeper into us first to see what is the trigger. And I was thinking about that and how I was starting a comment, but I got too wordy. So I was like, let me stop. Because one of the things I think that we often miss is the opportunity to learn and grow from what we see. So we see that there's so many things right now. There's the outside push. And if you're looking through the eyes of judgment, you may see all of this hate mongering. But also what you might want to see is that there is a call for identity. There's a call for restoring and understanding why you are so sought after, for you to be so hated. Mm-hmm. What is it about you that is so sought after? Because that's a form of attention. Mm-hmm. When people draw hate towards you, they're drawing attention to you. What is it that they're giving you so much energy for? That's a trend. That's a real trend. What is it about you? What is it about our black men that demands such force and such emotional energy exchange?
Can I? Do you
Please,
mind?
no.
So, it's interesting. Black being the authority, Black being the originator, Black being that place that we come from, it is a threat to those who seek power, because you have done everything that you could do to these Black people, but they won't go away.
Resilience.
They continue to innovate, to grow. They continue to thrive. Every trick and trap set, you want to call melanin theory pseudoscience? I'm sorry, you see it. You see it alive. You see it moving. You see it. And in pseudoscience, all of the scholars that were ever of any consequence got their knowledge from melanin on the continent. Europe came to the continent. The Middle East came to the continent. Mm-hmm. Asia came to the continent. But that was only after they came back to the continent, several eons after they left the continent, because that was where they originated. So they had to come back.
Sankofa.
They had to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you're saying is Black is a threat because it is so excellent. And it is, and you cannot destroy it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's an energy. So we spend a lot of time trying to counteract a lot of the things that we're seeing as what's trending. My position is, how do we explore? How do we find out what is it showing us? Just like the body, just the pain in the body, it's telling a story, and we're not always listening. We're trying to put a Band-Aid on it. We're trying to find a quick fix. It's not a quick fix. It's a deep dive. It's a deep exploration, and we have to get to this mindset and this point of exploring those things as opposed to ignoring those things and putting Band-Aids and patches over things. It's not by coincidence. We speak multiple languages. It may not be the verbal language that we're speaking. We speak multiple languages, and we miss the opportunity. It's why I can recognize that I can have conversations, relationship with trees. I mean, it seemed so weird. I never remember. I had an uncle. He kept calling me a tree hugger. He said I was a tree worshiper, and at first I was offended by that, but I was like, I'm honoring because he didn't have that understanding at the time. I'm honoring nature, and I'm communicating, and I have an understanding in a way that some people just don't. And I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
I'm okay with that. It has been a help for me in my life. It's been an awakening for me. And so when I need information, I go outside. I plant my bare feet in the grass. I'm often near a tree. I'm often watching, listening. What are you trying to tell me? Because it's a message for me. And if you ask the question, the answer will come.
It will.
And so I think that's another important piece. But I know that has to do with my exposure and my understanding of how my melanin affects this body, how it affected my learning, how it affected my understanding. I don't mean new as in recent. I mean, it's a nuance versus a new process or a new thing to engage. But the time is ripe for it. This is what this age is about. It is about our awakening. It is about us returning back to spirit in a way that is evolutionary. And so, okay, I'm going to get to this because I'm gonna keep going for a minute. So, positive interpretations of what we talk about, how melanin affects Black and the culture of Black, not just Black culture, but the culture of Black, how we see the word, how we're affected when we see it, how we honor that, how it grows us, all of those things. But power and strength, that sense of authority, control, it's called a potent energy. Black is a potent energy. So if we can look at that in terms of energy systems, Mahat, how about you? When you think of Black in terms of power and strength, I know you gave some examples too, but what other ways have you seen Black used, or the culture of Black, not just Black culture?
That's a good question.
How do you use it? Do you have, I know you wear goddess attire. Do you have Black in your goddess attire as well?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. And I do wear a lot of Black. Black is absorbing. Allegedly you're not supposed to wear a lot of it because, especially if you're empathic, because you already are absorbing people's energy. And so when you're empathic, it's you're not supposed to wear a lot of Black. I've always been drawn to Black. And I don't know why. And, for a long time, most of my closet was Black. Till it was brought to my attention. Do you wear other colors? It was something about it. I love it. I vibe with the color Black. It's one of my favorite colors. It goes with everything. I don't care what color.
Right.
Your little black dress.
Right.
You dress it up. You dress it down. It's
your
just
Black shoes. How about that?
Yeah, black shoes, black anything.
But it's comforting too.
It
right.
is. It is. You feel enveloped. It's almost kind of like it mirrors being in the mother's womb.
That safe space too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great insight.
When you turn I like to turn the lights off especially like the darker my room is, the better. So a dark room and then a candlelight, that's like heaven to me. So, you know, when to digress a little bit, when you talked about the education, what popped in my mind was the doctoral gowns are black. Mm-hmm. At one point in time, all of your hats when you graduated were black. They just started to change that, you know, in the last probably 30, 40 years, but they used to always be black. And then they started to reflect the color of the school. Mm-hmm. So black always reflected highest learning. Mm-hmm. Also, when you talk about the yin and the yang, the black represents negative, but it also represents the feminine energy. So, and that contracting energy. White is expansive. So that's why you have the anti-inflammatory properties. Mm-hmm. And some black herbs, like, you know, black cohosh and things like that, they restrict, constrict? So that negative in terms of being feminine does not mean bad. Mm. It's like, you know, we think of bad and good, and black is always notated as being bad. It has nothing to do with that. It's two polarities of the same energy. Mm. Positive and negative is all the same energy. They're just polarities of that energy. And so when it comes to the feminine energy and the color black, our consciousness is more, when it comes to feminine energy, like love, compassion, receptivity, nurturing, that type of thing. So it doesn't mean black. I'm sorry, it doesn't mean bad.
Right.
So that's another aspect. If people do research on the color as it pertains to the feminine energy. Also, when it pertains to music, that's a whole nother dynamic. Mm. The black keys of the piano.
The sharps.
Yeah,
nice.
That's a whole nother science.
Yeah.
So when you talk about black, there's, as she said, there's so many different components to black. If you just focused on one, that was enough studying probably for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's true.
For sure. Let's see. It says black, the culture of black around protection and some spiritual traditions. Black is used to ward off negative energy and create a protective barrier. Mystery and unconscious. Black can symbolize the unknown, hidden knowledge, and the depths of the psyche. Earth connection. Black is linked to the earth, representing fertility, grounding, and a connection to the natural world. And then spiritual journeys. Black can be seen as a conduit between the physical and spiritual realms, guiding individuals on their spiritual paths. Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. In terms of that spiritual journey and the mystery and the unconscious, I just want to go back to a point where I talked about the pineal gland being a place where the melanin is synthesized. Mm. That is also the place where you connect to divinity through meditation. Mm. You get to higher spiritual realms. You know, there are so many. There's so many different levels and permutations of the divine. You know, but through the pineal gland, assisted through that precious substance, melanin, we are able to reach those higher spiritual places. So, yeah, I just wanted to
That's
add
awesome.
that.
Yeah, that's a great insight, too.
Piggyback off of that. Mm-hmm. As she said, fluoride in the water damages or calcifies the pineal gland. Your ability to connect to the spirit realm is hindered when you absorb a lot of these commercialized foods that have a lot of chemicals in them, but especially fluoride. There's absolutely no reason for fluoride to be in water. It is a poison.
Neurotoxin.
Yes, so it's not an accident between that and the devices.
Wasn't it? Not
the blue light. And you see people now who are saying that they're having a problem praying. They have a problem connecting to spirit. And those are one of the reasons why.
That's awesome. So, we have to at some point do some deeper dive into the whole chemtrails, because I believe that that's part of the sedation that a lot of people are experiencing. That, and like we talked about, what's happening in our foods, what's happening in the water. I think that is part of the component that keeps us sedated but not asleep, right? Because you get power and restoration when you are in your deep sleep.
That's right.
When you get to those different alpha states, theta, delta, gamma states, all those different states of mind that we need to get to for certain frequencies.
Absolutely. Look up the term fluoride stare.
Fluoride stare, like going up the stair, or
no, stare like
at the glands,
staring at something. There is a phenomenon called the fluoride stare. You know, that was part of the during the Holocaust. The fluoride was part of that process to get. It's deep, but that was part of it, and the introduction of fluoride into the mainstream, into our water here in the United States. That was a concerted effort to, like you say, not put us to sleep, but to make us unaware, uncaring, not able to center ourselves. Yeah. And to cause that disconnection from the spiritual.
Yeah, more docile. Do you know they put fluoride in infant water?
Absolutely.
They don't have teeth yet. So if it's to protect the teeth, why are you putting it in baby water? Makes no sense.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like if you're listening out there, you should have lots of notes by now, some places to go, and the things that resonate with you. So when we talk about resonate, we're talking about the things that make you say, or wonder, or that's interesting. Maybe I need to investigate that. It's not by chance that you might hear that. It's not by chance that is stirred in you. When you are stirred by this knowledge, by this wisdom, by this information, do take advantage and act on that. That means this is a part of your self-work. This is a part of the journey that you're on to explore, self-exploration. I just finished a 3-week series called The Secret Chamber. Our last session really was about the energy and how the systems. There are various systems that we have. The chakras are a system. Color is a system. When I was talking about the languages, these are the different languages that we speak. You speak, and once you start to understand it, you can start to speak that language and speak to others who speak that language, right? We start talking about our tribe, right? When you're a part of a tribe, you start to speak the language and understand each other better. That whole conversation, and just kind of going back to the conversation about therapy and relationships, I think that was an important conversation to have. Very important, because if we don't have healthy relationships, if we're not understanding one another, and if we're not getting the rest that we need, that's prompting a lot of the discord between people. You need to have that rest, that sense of sleep. But that also means that it's not just rest in terms of sleep. It is rest in terms of the peace you need to feel safe and comfortable where you are. So let us take this moment for this lesson, for the journey, and make sure that one of the things that you leave with is that you get enough rest. Mary, what would you have people leave with? What one idea would you want them to leave with? And then please share how the people can get in touch with you.
Well, I tell you, what I would have you leave with, I just want to say one thing. I interchanged the word melanin and melatonin a few times. They're both synthesized in the pineal gland. I just wanted to say that, but I want you to investigate and invest in sleep, restorative sleep, the sleep that will heal your body.
Yes. Well, one thing would you want our listeners to leave with today?
Knowledge is power. I would say do research on melanin. Do research on Black, opposite from what you've been told and raised to believe and think all your life. You are more powerful than you know.
And how can they get in touch with you?
My email address is relationshipfirstaid@yahoo.com. Website, relationshipfirstaid.com. And Facebook, Instagram, again, Relationship First Aid.
Mary, did you share? How do people get in touch with you if they need to?
M as in Mary, E as in Elizabeth, Boyue, BOAYUE, @gmail.com.
Thank you. And my thought for you today is to be aware. It's not by chance, it's not by coincidence that we are here today and sharing this information, this knowledge with you. This is about the lessons for the journey. You're on a journey. You're on this journey of exploration and excellence. I love that you said that. You're on a journey of excellence. You find that excellence. You bind that excellence to you when you act, when you're following what resonates with you, when you're following that intuition, when you're following the knowledge, when you're following the research. Every initiate has 3 things that they have to do. The first 3 steps is 1, to be able to control your thoughts. 2nd, to control your actions. And 3rd, your devotion to purpose. I am Dr. Hetheru. This has been our Lessons for the Journey, and our topic was Deep Black, the melanin and the culture of Black. You can reach me at You're Inspired with a D, yourinspiredjourney.com. You can find me under Dr. Heather Hetheru. You can find me on my YouTube page. Please explore some of those YouTube videos, our past shows, some video clips. You can find me at Heather Hetheru, Personal Change Coach on YouTube. But Google me. You can find us. You can Google either of us. Find us on Google. Get connected. Find some of the information and resources that we have for you. But you can also call me direct. I really prefer that over direct. What is a DM? Direct message, right? Please directly call me at 313-759-7855. I'd much rather talk to you than try to communicate through social media. But I'm here. Follow these lessons for the journey. It is why we are here. This is our devotion to purpose and our devotion to you. Thank you. Stay clear.